that are full of mud and stones.
Hello and welcome to the Hoof GP. Today I am on my way to an emergency call out, kind of. The only thing is, the farmer actually called 8 days ago and I've not managed to get there until now. He's got a bull that is extremely lame, so let's hope we can do something about it. In the meanwhile, smash the subscribe button right now and give this video a big thumbs up.
So you're joining me after visiting 2 farms earlier today. I'd actually already trimmed almost 70 cows with Craig by my side and just nipped home for a cup of coffee before heading out to help this farmer and his lame bull. My journey today takes me up through the village of Wigtown, past my mother's coffee shop there on the left, and then down through the beautiful little village of Bladnoch, where Scotland's most southerly whisky distillery sits on the riverbank.
So I'm not sure what it's like where you are in the world, but right now it's just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's rapidly starting to get dark. Our days here can be really short in the winter. Sometimes it's not light until around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then it's dark again by 2:30 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So hopefully when we get there, there'll be enough lights on the farm to see what we're doing as we're getting the bull into the crush. But I know once he's in there, the Appleton has plenty of lights for me to see exactly what I'm doing when I'm trimming. So that definitely won't be a problem. Although washing up might be a totally different story.
The farm I'm headed for today is only 9 or 10 miles away, and it's actually owned by somebody I've known all of my life and used to be my next door neighbour. As you can see, the light really is starting to fade quickly, and as is often the case when I visit farms, one bull has turned into 2, which is absolutely no hassle at all, but it does mean we need to get cracking.
Get a few extra legs. I'm brightening things up. Is this the one that's kind of more lame, or?
Neither of them are terrible.
Roy has 2 Simmental bulls for me to trim today, and as you're about to see, they're pretty big boys. Neither of them are incredibly lame, but it is fantastically important that both of them are seen as early as possible to ensure the best possible chance of a full recovery.
Did you notice which one you thought it was lame on? No. Not totally sure.
You better probably got more.
Although Roy couldn't be certain which back foot he was lame on, once we picked this one up, it was fairly obvious that it was definitely causing some issues.
What was that, sorry? This is more likely what's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah. Where were you pointing in there?
As is often the case on farms like this, we are in a constant dialogue about what is happening with the cow's feet, or bulls in this case. This shows how much farmers really care about their livestock. They want to know each and every specific detail about each foot, why anything that's happened has happened, and what they could do to prevent it in the future. You see, most farmers really do care. Looking at that outer claw, you can clearly see it's enlarged compared to the inner one, and even if it weren't, that outer claw is causing him some real pain. So we get a block onto the inner claw to lift the sore one off the ground as soon as possible, so that it's got plenty of time to cure. Once that block's in position, we start attacking the problem. Once we've removed all of the loose and cracking horn from that problem in the white line, there's a small amount of blood, which is why we dress it with iodine to dry the area up and to make sure that the new horn grows in perfectly well. That wooden block will wear out in 5 to 6 weeks, and this guy should be fully recovered. So with the problem foot done, we move on to checking the rest of his feet. We might as well, because he's in the crush. However, things are about to take a very, very bad turn for the worse.
I enjoy making them. Yeah, I do. And partly I enjoy making them because there's so many people messages and email us. They're like, aye.
Now that the wooden block, or rather the glue, has completely dried, I make sure that it's sitting perfectly level, remove the front so that he walks perfectly well on it, and drop it before moving on to this front left foot. Although he's not showing visible signs of lameness in this front left foot, he does have 2 very deep cracks or defects in the white line junction that are full of mud and stones, so we need to get rid of all that debris to make sure that he doesn't start to really fail on this foot.
See these cracks in his feet? But I'm not going to take them any further up because they're not causing any pain. Just taking that little bit out should help them stop cracking any further.
And here, folks, is where it started to go oh so wrong. You see, I was really struggling to reach this front right foot because he was sitting on the back bar and pulling that front leg away forward. So in order to get him to stand up, I tried a few of my little tricks, which unfortunately didn't quite work as I'd hoped.
You're alright, boy. You're alright. You're alright. You're alright. That's a boy. Easy, big boy. Easy.
No, I wouldn't even care if you had, as long as he's alright.
I can't believe that just happened. Oh, thank God he's alright.
Next customer, please.
So this is the bull Roy originally called me for, and he is lame on his front left foot. As you can see though, he's not walking particularly bad, which is why it was a little bit of a shock when we discovered just how bad this foot really was. And these big guys can weigh well over 1,000 kilos or 2,200 pounds, so any little defects in their feet can have a cataclysmic impact on their comfort.
This is what's happened. There's something in there and it's burst out both ways. So this is connected to this. You can't leave any cracked horns here. Here it's still underrun. If I leave that, it won't heal properly. See, then that's full of stones, and that's part of the reason you hate to keep going.
I know that underneath all of this loose and detached horn, there will be some corium still attached to the horn, which is why I'm taking hundreds of little tiny cuts instead of a few really big ones. Even then, I still managed to nick what is lying underneath, and that's what's causing that small amount of blood. Now that has happened though, it allows me to know how deep the horn is and where it isn't detached, which in turn lets me take bigger swipes with the knife, allowing me to deal with this bull as quickly as possible. And finally, the detached horn looks like it's finally coming to an end. Oh, how wrong you are.
You don't often see this like on a bull.
And is that going to be good underneath there?
This is what's caused it here.
These bulls live in green pastures almost all of the year round, which means that their feet are exposed to dry conditions, and that means that the hoof horn is nice and hard, which is good for the bull, but it means I need to exert a huge amount of force just to cut through the hoof horn. For the last 10 or so years, I've trimmed approximately 14,000 head of cattle every year, and out of those 14,000 cattle, roughly 250 to 300 of them are beef bulls, just like this big guy here. Because of their immense weight and the difficulty of handling them often, I actually approach trimming their feet in a slightly different way to the way I trim a cow's feet. And in part, that's the reason we're using wooden blocks today, because this means that these blocks will wear out after 5 or 6 weeks, and we won't have to bring these bulls back in just to remove the blocks. This is the perfect example of a trim that is not beautiful, but I am not in the game of producing beautiful feet. I am in the game of producing functionally trimmed cow's feet, and a functional trim means that this guy is going to be much more comfortable than he was when he entered the crush. Luckily for me, apart from that big blob of slurry, trimming his other 3 feet went far more smoothly than it did with the first bull.
One bite. Is he going back out to field now? Is he? Aye, it's perfect.
Well, that was more eventful than I hoped.
So let's talk about this for a second. I can barely believe what just happened. The bull reversed out of the crush whilst he was up in the air. When things like that happen, you just gotta chill, relax, and not panic. And luckily, that's exactly what I did. My reaction instantly was to slam the crush down, and then I thought, wait a minute, no, chill, relax. That could cause even more problems. His feet could have went under the crush and something really bad could have happened. As it is, he's totally fine. Now, to explain why that happened, that bull was in this crush before, caused a lot of problems, and I loosened the head yoke this time so that he didn't cause those same problems. Then he started to sit down, and I lifted the back bar, but didn't realise he could slip out the back. We're all good.
Just as I'm sure you lot do, I get a chance to reflect on my day during my journey home. And today has been a good one. Things could have gone wrong, they maybe did go slightly wrong, but everything worked out in the end, and all is well with my world. I've had an amazing day in my wonderful life here in Southwest Scotland, and I genuinely hope you guys have too. Catch you later.